to the honourable gentleman. Can I remind all members that if they wish to speak, they should carry on standing so we can see that you do. I'm afraid that if we are going to get everybody in, people will need to restrict themselves to about 3 minutes, but I'm loath to impose a formal time limit. The question is that this House has considered the funding of the BBC World Service. Sir John Whittingdale.
Sir Jeremy, can I begin by congratulating and thanking the honourable gentleman for Bury St Edmunds, both for calling the debate this afternoon, which I think is extremely topical, but also for convening a very helpful panel to discuss the subject just a couple of days ago. The World Service has always been one of the great assets of this country. When we talk about the UK's soft power, the BBC is right up there at the top, and its reach into some of the most troubled parts of the world is huge. And we only have to reflect back on stories of people like Terry Waite, who, when he was held hostage in Lebanon, spoke of how he relied upon the BBC World Service. But it has become all the more important today. Two reasons particularly. Firstly, the huge spread of disinformation, what they call foreign interference and manipulation of information, being conducted specifically by Russia and by China. The honourable gentleman mentioned Moldova. I was there a few weeks ago and spoke to politicians there who were trying to counter a tidal wave on TikTok, on Telegram channels of Russian disinformation seeking to influence the parliamentary election, which will be coming up later this year. And the same is happening in China, with independent media being closed down and huge amounts being put into spreading Chinese propaganda. That is one aspect. But against that, at the same time, the other reliable voice, which was provided by the American services, Voice of America, as he said, has been undercut by the withdrawal of funding by the US administration. I hope that that will be reversed. At the moment it's on hold. We're told it's all under review, but certainly having talked to some of the people involved, they are pessimistic. And if Voice of America goes, it makes it all the more important that we have a trusted, reliable source of independent news. My honourable friend from my neighbouring constituency, Billericay, is right, but occasionally there have been questions, as there are always likely to be, about the impartiality, and I've heard the complaints about BBC Arabic, and in some cases I have sympathised with those. But overall, the BBC World Service is deeply trusted. It is the case that until 2010, funding came entirely from the government. And then, as a result of the pressures on public spending, the Chancellor then, George Osborne, decided that he wanted to reduce public expenditure, and so he asked the BBC to take over for funding through the licence fee. That continued until 2015, when I was Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, and the government agreed that the Foreign Office should provide a top-up. So it was still with the licence fee, but the government provided a top-up on top. And that's how it's remained until now. So roughly 2/3 comes from the licence fee, and roughly 1/3 comes from the government. But the World Service is now under a double squeeze. The licence fee has been frozen for a time. It's now going back up again. The BBC have had to find savings. And if you talk to the Director General, he will say, my job is to provide value to the licence fee payer. And the truth is that most licence fee payers are unaware, or certainly don't listen to the World Service. It's a public good. It's for the good of this country. And that's why his argument is that the government should take back overall responsibility for the funding of the World Service. Now that's something, an argument with which I have great sympathy, but I'm deeply concerned that as part of the expenditure reductions currently taking place, because World Service funding from the government counts as ODA, we know the ODA budget is under pressure. Even though there was a top-up last October, further cuts are being made, and the latest letter, which I have here from Jonathan Munro, the Director of the World Service, says we have been asked for further engagement with the FCDO on the impact of the reduction in spend on ODA. Now that, to me, suggests that there may be further reductions. And so I hope that the Minister, in her response, is able to say that not only will the government continue funding the World Service of a present level, but will be looking to increase it, because the need for that has never been greater.